Hey guys, and welcome to Just West of London. Now this may look like London's north, but I've actually rotated the map so that north is to the left and south is to the right, so I could actually show the line on the video without having to zoom out too much. But this line is a perimeter metro. It connects many different transportation systems outside London, including highways, 2 airports, many tube lines, and many railway lines, including the West Coast Main Line, the Great Western Main Line, the Southwest Main Line, and the Southern Main Line, in addition to many other branch lines. So it's actually Webeo's second birthday, believe it or not, and I wanted to commemorate that by doing a proposal that truly connects everything and that shows that transportation is interrelated. Because you can't just go from point A to B. You probably have to go on like multiple systems, for example. If you want to go from the northwestern suburbs to the southwestern suburbs, how would you do it? You would have to go by train at least into the city and then out again. With such a new line, you can just go outside. It also connects Heathrow with Gatwick. Gatwick is used more as like a leisure airport, and Heathrow is more of like a business type airport. It connects to like less touristy destinations, if you know what I mean. But there's a lot of people that travel between the two, and the fastest way is a bus on the crowded M25 motorway. So this line will be a direct connection between these two airports in 20 minutes. So let's get into the Webeo itself, and I've turned off the roads to make this line easier, but like easier to see. But it starts at Watford Junction here, so this is the West Coast Main Line, and then it curves to the west, and it goes through a couple stations here, some of which interchange with tube lines, including New Year's Green and West Drayton. It also goes to Heathrow 1, 2, 3 and Terminal 4. In fact, the line actually goes directly through the airport. Then it connects to the southwestern suburbs. Hinchley Junction is the interchange with the Southwest Main Line. And then it crosses the M25 to Leatherhead and then Dorking, where it turns east. And then after that, it turns back south at Earlswood and goes south to Gatwick Airport. That's a general overview of the line. It'll be third rail electrified, and the trains will utilize a switching system so that it could use both catenaries, especially when coming from the West Coast Main Line to the third rail over the rest of the network. So without further ado, let's zoom in to Watford Junction. So I've zoomed in to Watford Junction. Now this is not necessarily the start of the train service. I started it here because in reality this line goes all the way up to Manchester and up to Scotland. So all the trains coming from down there can utilize this line. It includes Liverpool, Birmingham, Manchester, all come onto this line. So all the people coming from there who want to go to like the airports and other places just west of London, they can have a one-seat ride through Watford Junction. I just had Watford Junction as like a station for like the more local trains, and also all the express trains will stop at Watford Junction because it serves as a stop for the London Overground, and it's also a main junction for the East Midlands trains as well. So actually not East Midland, the London Midland. I keep mixing those up. East Midland is another complete system. Anyways, so all those trains coming from 55% of the UK's population will go through this station, and they can easily connect to the busiest airport in Europe, which is Heathrow, as well as Gatwick, which is also one of the busiest airports in the continent. So those people have a one-seat ride. They don't have to take short domestic flights which are polluting, not to mention that going to the airport and going through all the hassle is not worth it compared to using such a line like this. So it continues along the existing overground line. It already has third rail, so nothing has to be done in terms of upgrading. Now this is Watford High Street here. It'll have to go on separate alignments because it'll actually go just to the northwest of the station here, because after that the overground line goes back to the east. So this won't stop here because this is going to be more of like an express line. The top speed is 100 miles per hour or 160 kilometers per hour. So it goes on to, this is a one track this is actually not a one-track line. This used to be a one-track line, now it's like a rail trail. So this may be like a bit of like a environmentalist nightmare almost, but it's nothing compared to what is being done in building like roads and many new airports, for example. This is still using like, this is not destroying any homes. It may use a pathway, but it can be constructed in another way. So this is just an existing pathway, the railway line will replace that. So that may have some problems, but I don't think that'll be too bad in regards to the opposition of the line. The next station is Batchworth. This is a regional stop. By the way, I forgot to mention it, but in my other web views I use purple is express stop, and that's also all caps, and then no caps, and orange is regional high speed. Batchworth is also the interchange with the Metropolitan line. This is the Metropolitan line right here. It's also right close to the junction that goes to Watford and the one that goes to Amersham. So people coming from like the inner suburbs, like the inner northwestern suburbs, I would say, all the way to like Wembley Park, can just go up here and then take the train down to the airports or up to the West Coast main line and continue on. So there's a lot of implications with such a line, because going between suburbs is becoming more and more popular as offices start to move out of a city and they're becoming more satellite campuses around the city's perimeter. Such perimeter metros will really tie the region together. So after Batchworth, it'll go over the river Chess. This is a small viaduct, and then it'll soon go into a 0.88 mile long tunnel, and this tunnel goes under some golf course. It is called the Rickmansworth golf course, if I pronounced it correctly. So this is a 0.88 mile tunnel, and then it comes out, and this is all brand new track. There's no existing track, but it destroys very few homes. It's just a couple of farmers may be affected, but it's nothing compared to like building a full underground line throughout this, or building it through towns, because these towns have been here for hundreds of years. It's not like the USA where some towns are like 50-70 years. These are hundreds of years old. They don't want to be split. So I built the line so that it bypasses them, but at the same time still stops at most of the towns. The next station, also a regional stop, is a New Year's Green station. Now this station right here serves on the Chiltern main line, which goes to Marylebone and northwest to the Birmingham area. And also interestingly, the next station east, West Ruslip, is the end of the central line. So what I was thinking is just extend this central line west to New Year's Green, so all the western part of the central line can have a two-seat access to anywhere along this spine here, whether it be up to Birmingham, Manchester and Scotland, or down to the airports. They don't have to go through the hassle of going to central London or braving the M25 motorway. So after New Year's Green, the line will soon go under a tunnel. Now this tunnel is a long tunnel. I had no other choice. If I could have made it go west, but then again it would serve less dense areas, and I wanted it to serve more dense areas and also more railway lines. In fact, Uxbridge, which is the end of the northern branch of the Piccadilly line and the southern branch of the Metropolitan line. I say that because we already passed the northern branch of the Metropolitan line, and the southern branch of the Piccadilly line goes to the airport. So this is like the other place, but this connects to those lines easily, and it's also a more populated place. There's a lot of shops here and many suburbs nearby, especially to the north and east, which are along these two lines. So I think building a station here, and this will also be an express stop because it connects with two tube lines, it will just serve as like a good connecting point to this entire region here just south of A40 M40. Also, it's really close to the interchange of the M25 and M40 motorways, so people coming from this direction here can just take this exit and go to Uxbridge and take the line north or south to their final destination, or at least closer to their final destination. This is an underground station. This line is actually pretty similar to, if you know what Crossrail is, you're actually going to cross the Crossrail line soon, but it's kind of like that idea. So if you know what that is, it's kind of like that. Some underground, but it's like a high-speed metro line. Next station is Cowley. There's no station here, but this is like a pretty built-up town. Also, Hillington is just to the east, and that's like a population of around 45,000 people. So all these people have access to this station here and don't have to go up to Uxbridge. After Cowley, the next station is West Drayton. West Drayton is on the Great Western Main Line and will also be a future stop for the Crossrail. So all Crossrail people coming from both the near east and all the way west, including all the Great Western Main Line, can connect right here. I say this because the existing London Heathrow rail link goes south here and underground. But if you're coming from the west, it's not as easy to get to the airport, by rail at least. Here you could just transfer at West Drayton, and this will probably make West Drayton more of like a commuter hub as well. I see a big satellite city coming up in West Drayton if this line is built, because it'll be a big, like, many people going to and from the airport will stop here, so many businesses will find the high commercial traffic vital for their running. So after West Drayton, the line will continue underground until just south of the M4 motorway, where there's a 0.68 mile stretch of on-grounds line, and this is double track third rail. After that, it goes underground again, and it stops at Heathrow terminals 1 to 3, and the next stop is Heathrow terminal 4. So I'll actually use the existing tunnel, and there's actually a loop tunnel here. I didn't draw it, but most likely I'll just make this run on the existing loop tunnel used by the rail link, so it'll save some money, because this is a good 0.8 miles between these two. Only terminal 5, which is a British Airways hub, is not served directly by this, but there's a one-stop link to there, so it's not that big of a hassle. After the Heathrow terminals, the line continues for a little bit until just south of East Bedfont, where it goes on the ground again, and the next stop is Lower Feltham. Lower Feltham is a first station on the Southwest trains line, and this line connects the southwestern part of the London metropolitan area and also goes to the place just south of Windsor. Think like Windsor Riverside station. So like this is all can be served by this station here, so they don't have to go to the motorways or take a long detour to get to the airport. There are many wealthy suburbs here too, so chances are they have a lot of business travelers as well that start at Heathrow for their business trips, so such a line can also make the travel easier. But then again, if you want that clientele, you want this to be popular, and also like high end, if you know what I mean. You don't want it to be dank and dingy, so that's basically what I want to do. Like, you want this to be a more up-to-date line. I would not say like luxury, but I would say put some creature comforts. I don't know how to like explain it in English that well, but you get what I mean. So just north of the actual Lower Feltham town center, it goes underground again, and it goes underground until here, because this is actually a recreational park and it serves quite a few people, so I wanted to keep it underground to maintain the parks. I want to maintain the environment and landscape of these places. So after that, it crosses over A31 and M3, A316 actually, and M3. I know the M3 ends here. I forgot like what the actual road is, but I believe it's A316. But this goes through this, it goes on a small viaduct over this road, and then it connects with another existing Southwest trains line for a little bit. And since it's only for a little bit, I'll have to upgrade this line to 3 or 4 tracks, because there's an existing 2-track line that goes through here into Hampton. So I decided to just double the line here. And sadly, this won't use the tracks in Hampton, because a problem is that I would have to go pretty steep curves, and keep in mind some trains are express as well, so they don't stop at all stops. They only stop at the stops in purple caps. So I had to make it go underground here, and the station's like a mere 1 block from the existing station, so I think building like a subway tunnel. A subway tunnel is basically a pedestrian tunnel under cities to connect like urban transportation hubs. So you build a subway tunnel here, and that'll serve as a connection between that. However, that's not the actual Southwest main line. It'll go under the river here. This is actually the very, very western end of the River Thames, believe it or not. Like, if you zoom out, this goes all the way there. There are a lot of roads and you can't see it, but it does go under there. So that's just a fun fact. It continues underground all the way to Hinchley Junction. Now, Hinchley Junction is where it intersects with the main Southwest line, the Southwest main line, and this will be a big station here. I think a lot of businesses can come up in this area too. And it's not really located near any town, but it's on the junction of two lines. So everybody coming from the western part of England can connect here in going to London, instead of having to take domestic flights from like Bristol and southwest England, for example, like the peninsula south of Wales. So this is an express stop. All trains will stop here. This is still underground. It just comes above ground just south of there when the existing another line deviates from the main line and goes like this. So this will be on the other line too, because this is 2 tracks, but at the same time it won't be on it for that long, and in this case I saw that just keeping it on the existing tracks would be more worth it. Like each train won't spend too much time. I may upgrade it to 3 tracks, but I think keeping it at 2 tracks will be fine enough. Just southwest of Oxshott is where it deviates from the existing line again, and this is new 2-track alignment. It crosses the M25 motorway, and the next station, which connects with another, now this is I believe the southern region, southern and southwest serve this station here, but the next station is Leatherhead. Leatherhead is really close to the M25 motorway. So this serves as like, if you're coming from like all this area here, in fact all the way even up to Kent, for example, when you're coming from the M20 motorway here, you could just take this to the M26 to the M25 if you're wanting to go to the airport, assuming that the airport I proposed right here a couple Webeos ago, yes, I actually proposed an airport for one of my Webeos, but like assuming that doesn't get built right away, because that will take quite a while, to be honest, people can just drive here and then connect at Leatherhead. I may propose another southern line here that goes south of London, but I've not done that yet because I want to focus on the airport link. So it's close to M25, so many of those travelers can come there, and connects with this line here, and it stays on this line double track with like no upgrading besides third rail. There's a small tunnel here. I do it dark blue because a tunnel already exists. The next station is Dorking Lincoln Road, and this is an express stop for 2 reasons. 1, obviously the curvature is really high, but 2, this connects with quite a big region because it kind of connects, like it goes to the east along the North Downs line here, and the North Downs lines is operated by the Southern Rail Company, and it goes up to Victoria. But more than that, it serves this area here all the way to like Southampton. So like this southern coast, probably between Brighton and Southampton, they find it easiest to go to Dorking Lincoln Road, and then from here they can transfer to this new line. So I built a small new segment to connect to the North Downs line, and then the line continues on the North Downs line, no upgrading, it's 2 tracks, so it should be fine. And also keep in mind that these trains operate at a speed of 100 miles per hour, but I think tilting trains can alleviate like some of the extensive curve straightening that would otherwise be required. Next station is Reigate. Reigate is again like a pretty decently sized suburb. It's also close to the M25, so people coming from the south and west, not south and east rather, have an option to like go to Reigate or go to Leatherhead. It depends, because it's honestly the same time here, and yeah, I think Leatherhead would probably be more useful because these are both regional stops, but if they want to get on Reigate, they have that option as well. Also, people going to Gatwick rather can transfer to Reigate here instead of having to go all the way down the M23. So people coming from like the southwestern suburbs and northwestern suburbs here can take this exit right here and then go to Reigate. So after Reigate, the line will go through Redhill, and it doesn't stop at Redhill. I may add like a station here, but as of now I didn't. I made the station at Earlswood, but if you want a station in Redhill, leave that in the comments. I could easily just build like a public subway or something here. But anyways, it goes underground and connects with a southern main line, and this is already electrified, and it's 4 tracks. The next station is Earlswood, and the line just continues through on the existing southern main line to Horley and Gatwick Airport. So my goal in this Webeo was to make sure that you understand like the many benefits from building a perimeter metro. It doesn't merely serve the communities along the line in a different way, it has a lot more implications. The airport, people come from all over. People connect between the two airports. It connects with highways, roads, other tube lines, metros, and they connect with much more populous regions. So it's beyond just a small spine here. This serves a big region, all the way extending to Glasgow, Scotland, which is where the West Coast Main Line starts. All the way from there, they have a one-stop train line here, instead of having to go from a plane all the way just here. Like, they would have to go to the airport, and you know all the hassles that has. Also, Birmingham, Manchester, same problem. So all those trains can serve this line. So it really serves most of the UK. In fact, pretty much all of the northwestern part of UK is in some way served by this line. Trains can go on the main line to Watford and then go along this line without having to switch. It's the same set of wheels and seats and boxes basically. So with that out of the way, I want to say it's Webeo's second birthday, and I'm really happy with what Webeo's going. So I've reached 200 subscribers and 60,000 views on the same day. That was really surprising. I saw I crossed 60,000 views, 200 subscribers one day. But more than that, I'm really happy when people comment on my videos, whether they like or dislike it. I want to know why. Honestly, my Webeos are just like ideas. They don't have to be true or right, but I want to see what other people think. It just helps create a community, if you know what I mean. Like, we're all interested in transportation. We may not all agree on the same thing, and that's exactly what I want. I don't necessarily want everybody to agree on a certain proposal. That would be interesting, but at the same time, people are obviously going to disagree. It's called refinement, and but there has to be some proposals to be made in the first place. And very few cities are proposing the perimeter metros, and I think they have a huge potential. Now, some people may think otherwise, and I want to hear your opinion. So please reach to these Webeos and comment them. Even if it's a negative comment, go ahead. I don't care that much about the like to dislike ratio. I want to see what we can learn from this. So that's basically what I've been doing with all my Webeos. Just create a proposal that seems pretty good and give let the third party people, which is basically the viewers, see and react. What do they think about it? Do they like the speed? Do they like where the line goes? Do they like which stations are express and local? I want to think all of that. But I think regardless, this is a very good solution. It may not be perfect, and there may be a couple flaws that I may have overlooked. I don't live in the UK, I live in the USA, so I don't know everything. But I think I researched pretty well on where the lines go and what their geographic implications are on building a perimeter metro. So that's about it. Thank you for watching.